What is up, everybody? Keith, aka Gator Guy 231, and here to break down Saturday's November 21st college football slate. Hope you all have been doing well. Missed breaking down games the last week, but looking forward to this one. I'll just tell you, I'm not sure if you all have opened up the slate before watching this, but this is a tougher slate than most. I feel like on a lot of slates, I get the slate open and I go, oh, okay, here's mispriced quarterback for 6,500 that's, going to get 15, 20 carries, or, a bell cow running back under 6K, or a wide receiver that we can project for, 8 to 10 targets for under 5,000, and just not so much on this slate. Every time you think you have one guy, you kind of poke holes in the matchup. So going to do my best. I think in a lot of ways, I'm going to give you guys maybe some really off the radar plays. We'll have to see how they pan out or if they are off the radar. But anyhow, look forward to bringing this down. I'm just going to do like I did last week, which I really enjoyed, which is just giving you kind of my top targets. I've run through this a few times. This is by no means like my final player pool, but just guys as I've done my preliminary research that I really like. So just a quick reminder, if you enjoy these videos, bottom right of the screen is the subscribe button. Really appreciate college football has been huge at getting our subscriber base up, college football and soccer. So just want to thank all of you that have subscribed. But again, bottom right, hit the subscribe button. Also give us a like and a comment if you enjoy what we're doing at FSI. All right, let's get into the quarterback position. Look, I think the studs stand out. And if you guys have been watching this, you know by now, I really like to pay down at quarterback. But I do think that this might be a week that I might go up top twice. So I think at the top, Kyle Trask is great. Here's the interesting thing about Kyle Trask, though. His lack of rushing upside really does hurt his game. So like last week, and obviously Gator Guy 230, I'm a huge Gator fan, so you don't have to sell me on Kyle Trask being a great play. But he threw 6 touchdowns last week and only 42 DK. Let's compare that to Ritter, who I love this week too, at 9,200. Throws for 3 touchdowns, 40 DK because of the rushing upside. So look, I'm always big on rushing quarterbacks. It's for that reason. They not only give you a bigger floor, but a much higher ceiling. So I think Trask is a great play. My guys this week, if I'm paying up, are Ritter and Justin Fields. So Ritter, I think just the matchup versus UCF is just so good. UCF loves playing shootouts. I don't know how great they're going to be against the Cincinnati defense, which is legit. But I think Ritter's going to have his way with the weak UCF defense. He now has 3 of his last 4 over 40 DK. Really just taken off of the rushing upside. Not necessarily sure with the speed of this game how much we're going to see of Dokes. I think he's a good player, obviously, and a great play on the slate. But I really do think Ritter, we might see get, 10, 15 rushes here in addition to 25-plus passes. So I think Ritter is going to be a guy I want to build around. And then, of course, I think the chalk of the slate is Justin Fields. Potentially the best player in college football. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence can make a very good case for that. Even my boy Kyle Trask, has something to say. But Justin Fields just overall is a phenomenal player. Like, look at his accuracy numbers. Obviously, he incorporates some rushing upside too. We don't see a ton of it. Versus Nebraska, he did get 15 carries, but he's built in with a 30 DK floor. And potentially up to 50 DK on the ceiling. After that, I think it's kind of dark in here. You can play some McCall. I really do think this game is one I kind of want to stay away from. It's under a 50 total, so probably just going to stay away from that. The next guy, I think if I'm paying down, I broke him down last week, played a lot of him. He was not very highly owned, but it's Luke McCaffrey. He has solidified himself as a starting quarterback for Nebraska, under 7K versus a weak Illini. Does going to give you, 10, 15 rushing attempts. So I think that if I'm paying down, he's one of my favorites. Also, as much as it pains me to say it, but Felipe Franks, I think, is actually a really decent play. Obviously, former Gator quarterback, also a decommit from LSU. So, he did not get his revenge narrative versus UF last week, but maybe he gets a little bit of revenge narrative versus a down LSU team. But Felipe Franks gives you some rushing upside as well. I thought our Arkansas offense actually looked half decent versus Gators last week. So 6,200, I do have some interest there. There's some guys under 6K, just nothing that I thought are a must. Maybe this Illini situation. might have somebody, but Frank's is, first look was the lowest I really felt comfortable going. Maybe if you really want to go low, Seals is throwing a ton for Vanderbilt. Now, 3 straight games over 16 DK. He's going to throw a ton versus UF, and I'll just tell you that UF defense is not something to be too scared of. So maybe Seals is actually a salary saver. See, it's funny. Come on here. I'm like, I think I'm actually going to play Ritter and Justin Fields, and I'm already finding some cheaper guys that I like. So let's jump over to running back, which I think is really tough. I think at the top, if I am paying up, it's for Najee Harris. He just catches the ball so much too, in addition to being the nation's best running back. I want to have some Bama, most likely. I think Harris is the way to do it. Potentially get 5-6 catches, all the goal line work, 25-30 touches. So yeah, it's hard to steer away from him. I think Jefferson might catch some steam just based on the way he started the season. College, he just got torn up by UCLA on the ground. So, knowing that you're going to get 20, 25 carries from Jefferson is nice. I do think, potentially think that ceiling on Harris is just much higher. But, if you want to take a couple hundred saving, I can't blame you. Probably not going to be an Etienne. And again, I think FSU sucks. So I just don't know how long Clemson is going to be playing their guys. So I probably will stay away from that situation. Dokes, I expect to be fairly popular at 6,700 versus UCF. But issues, he just doesn't catch much. So I think it's tough there. From here, I'm not going to lie. I really struggled in this mid-tier. I didn't see a ton of guys that just popped out at me that I'm like, ooh, I'm excited to play. I mean, you have some fair plays in here. The one guy I kind of wanted to bring up was Ford from Penn State. Doesn't feel like all that long ago that we were expecting Penn State to be this dominant team. They just have not been. They've been one of the biggest disappointments in college football. But, Ford should get close to double-digit carries. Again, issues doesn't give you a lot through the air in this game environment. Might suck. Iowa doesn't mind just kind of sludging it out. But under 5K for starting running back at a big school never hurts. The guy I want to kind of go off the radar for you guys is going to be a little bit of Florida local knowledge here. Let me see if I can make sure I can re-find him. Let me just get over here. So Naquan Wright, high recruit from the Gators. They've slowly been incorporating him more and more into the offense. This is a game we could see blow out, which would give him even more carries. But I think that you can really project 8 to 10 carries for him here. A little receiving upside too. I think they really want to get him in the end zone too. He really looks good on the goal line. Just to give you perspective, Pierce is technically the starting running back and plays kickoff return, and not kickoff return, kickoff coverage. Actually got hurt briefly last week on it. So yeah, I think that I don't mind punting it out. And if I can get 7 to 8 DK from Yahtzee, and maybe if I get a touchdown, then I'm really cooking. So I don't think it's crazy. I'm going to do some more digging and see if I can get away from that, but kind of one of the guys I was looking at. All right, let's go to receiver. Obviously, you have your studs. I've always been a guy that unless somebody just absolutely jumps out of me and it's a must up here, I'm going to try to pay down. So I'm going to give you just a couple of guys in the mid-tier that caught my eye. Of course, I'm going through passing a ton of great plays. I get it. If you want to talk about them, hit the message. I will gladly answer here. I do love doing that. A lot of times you guys actually point out plays that I missed, and it helps my game too. But I do want to bring up Wan'Dale Robinson from Nebraska. So he's surprisingly, I'm already blanking on their running back's name, so apologies. Let's see if it's in there. Mills, there you go. When Mills was out, Wan'Dale played a lot of running back. Supposedly they're going to be trying to incorporate him even more. But he's one of the most talented playmakers in college football. 5,200 versus Battle Line team. We're going to get, 5-7 targets. Maybe we get, I don't think we're going to get 16 carries, but maybe we get 4 to 6. So, we get close to 10 touches for 5,200 from an explosive player. I like that a lot. So 5,200 for Wan'Dale Robinson, I like quite a bit. Going back to my Gators, which, look, as much as it seems like a homer pick, they're one of the highest team totals. So get off my back. Gators are one of the best offenses in the nation, and we should have interest in their players. Trayvon Grimes with Pitts out. Last week definitely seemed to get a huge tick up. He now has 4 touchdowns in the last 3 games, getting more targeted. Was one of the top recruits in the nation a few years back. Really think he's kind of finding his way in this offense. So Trayvon Grimes, definitely somebody I'm interested in at 5,100 to get me some more Gator exposure. Obviously more plays here. I think Addison's really interesting at 4,900. We get a good amount of targets. He runs a lot out of the slot. We got our Penn State guys, but again, just these Penn State prices are going to be so tempting, but just keep in mind that game environment. Let's see, where was the last guy? Another one I want to mention is Tyreek Gilbert, one of the highest rated tight ends in recruiting history. It's still getting highly targeted. That LSU Arkansas environment could be really, really good. 4,300 for Gilbert, I think, is really solid. Does have good upside. Again, like DK always gives us these discounts on tight ends, so I think that he's somebody I'm going to be interested in. And I'm already blanking on who my last is. So let me take a quick look at my holder. There's one more guy I really wanted to mention. I know, invigorating YouTube television, you guys. This is what you get, I guess, for free. Maybe this is a good time for them to throw an ad on. All right. Okay, it was back from my game. So Cam Johnson from Vanderbilt. You look at the targets. We saw with Sears how many times he's throwing the ball because Vanderbilt is always behind. Look, I expect them to get behind pretty big on UF early. So 14 and 10 catches versus Mississippi State. Kentucky is a much better defense and plays a lot slower than the Gators do. So that limited his opportunities. So Cam Johnson, 4,300, getting this much volume, I am all about it. I do prefer him to Gilbert from like a cash perspective, but I think both of them are really good options for cheap. Guys, that is going to do it. I really appreciate y'all watching. Once again, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Or I think we get credit if you even hit dislike. So if I suck, go for it. I promise my feelings won't be hurt. But do hit comments if you want me to answer. And please don't shoot it from like 11 to 12. I'm busy looking at my own lineups. Tomorrow I'll be busy celebrating my son's 2nd birthday. So happy birthday to my boy Landon. And with that, I am out. So once again, Keith, a.k.a. Gator Guy 231. Good luck with your lineups and see ya!